Oftentimes when we're trying to get started, we start to procrastinate. We feel this kind of restlessness and anxiety. So just imagine you're sitting down. For some people it's sitting down to write a postcard. They become kind of anxious about it. But imagine sitting down to write a 400-page novel or a 100-hour television series over 7 seasons. A lot of times when we sit down, we start to feel this kind of restlessness and anxiety, so we wind up wanting to check our emails, or we wind up going and looking in the refrigerator even though we know there's nothing great in there, but we're just in the habit of doing it. And then before we know it, we're cleaning out the refrigerator and washing the floors and vacuuming the rugs and so on. So I'm bringing this up because this is something, this is called an archetypal feeling state. It's a universal feeling state, and this is how your characters feel when, let's talk about Billy Elliot, when that movie is about to begin. There's a feeling state of all the main characters that things are out of order, and there's a certain kind of restlessness and anxiety. The psychiatrist R.D. Laing calls this first state of beginning new things being in a hell of frenetic passivity. So I'm not going to take a lot of time with this, but you probably also know that sometimes when you're in the middle of your projects, it seems like the outline and storyboard you've done doesn't work, and maybe the story doesn't work, and everything's falling apart. And this is typically a time where most filmmakers and novelists and screenwriters just give up and find something different to work on because they feel like everything's falling apart, and then usually there's relationship problems, and and then the garbage smells and you can't get rid of it, and all these things kind of start to build up. But the whole idea is that when you get into the middle of your stories, and we'll see this when we look at the Billy Elliot film clips, you're taking the audience down to a very deep and dark place, and you have to allow yourself to be in that place of uncertainty. Because in these movies, it's important for characters to go through what's called a breakdown in order to break through. And so for us as writers, when it seems like everything might be falling apart and nothing seems to be working, in the middle, that's exactly where you need to be. Because that's where the audience is going to go, and the audience is going to come to a place where it doesn't seem like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So to write this authentically, we need to just feel this in our bodies and write from that place. Because it's easy to feel victimized when things aren't going right, and that's when the inner voices start to say, you're not good enough, you're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're not talented enough, you're never going to be Steve Spielberg. The voices go on and on. These are the voices of fear. And so as we're working and as we're experiencing things in our body, it's more important than ever to give ourselves a container for these feelings and have a positive container around the feelings to allow them to be expressed through the characters to the audience. This is really where the healing power of storytelling comes. It's in that resonance, because that resonance in these dramedies is something that is coming through looking at serious things in life with a compassionate eye and an open heart.